Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions, 4 p.m. on a Monday afternoon. In for Isabella. She'll be back here next week. Tal has joined us for the second time. Tal, how you doing?
Doing great. Thank you, Danny, for having me.
Do you want to give the audience a bit of background on yourself?
Sure. So I've been doing Amazon since 2016. First started with a energy drink company and did everything on a screen for them. So digital marketing, social, and e-commerce. And 2.5 years into that, company kind of changed ownership and realized that a lot of people were asking for advice on Amazon. And so ventured onto my own to help other clients with basically anything. I say, as long as the product's in the United States, I can help you. I don't know anything about sourcing. I don't know anything about customs or freight. But once it's in the US, everything here, from high level consulting on tax and no, sorry, I shouldn't have said tax, not legally tax, but on the high level issues of like logistics and things that really affect Amazon sellers, all the way down to some of the more low level merchandising things like listings and PPC and everything. So I would say 80% Amazon, 20%, other channels. And I'm very bullish on other channels right now.
Yeah. And give an example, some of those channels at the moment, what's your key ones, Walmart, places like that? Yeah, I'll take it.
Sure. I mean, I'm a huge fan of native channels right now. So like your BigCommerce and your Shopify and really, really building out your brands. I'm a very brand focused e-commerce person. So I don't know much about wholesale or liquidating or anything like that. And then I'm starting to really see some Walmart pop up a little bit more and more. And I think they're really putting a lot of resource toward it. I think this is their 4th time attempting it right now after that multi-billion-dollar write-off from Jet.com. But I think finally now they're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and we're still
well, that was a big fanfare. I want to get into the show now, but I'm just going to say that was a massive fanfare a couple of years ago, and that's just burned into the ashes, isn't it?
Totally.
Right. Okay. We're content-driven here, so we're going to get straight into it. Big topic. You had a meeting with Amazon last week. As the thumbnail suggests, is up to double in terms of restock in Q3 towards the end, but it's negotiated, right? Correct. So let's break it down. So you went in, or you had a meeting with Amazon last week. Let's break this all out from the beginning. What happened?
Yeah, so multi-channel fulfillment reached out, and as we know, Amazon has always had the notion of multi-channel fulfillment, meaning you can use your FBA stock to fulfill other channels, including your own, like Shopify and BigCommerce. But now you can start to fulfill other channels that you used to not be able to, like, your Walmart. And they just don't want to see it come in Walmart or in Amazon packaging. So Amazon has developed this program called the blank box, or some people call it the brown box program, which allows you to kind of bifurcate your inventory into being fulfilled, not using Amazon trucks and not using Amazon branding. So Amazon realized, I think last year, during the pandemic, like they have been losing a lot of they treated sellers very poorly, right? Not a lot of communication, restock limits changing drastically over the course, and we've talked about this,
we talked about it last time.
Yeah. And what ended up happening is they're realizing that they're losing a lot of share. This is my conjecture, that they're losing share toward people like the different 3PL services that all popped up. And so now they're like, okay, well, we want to take advantage of being a 3PL again as well. And so that's why they've really put a lot of resources toward this multi-channel fulfillment, especially to help. They talk about helping SMBs, so small and medium-sized businesses. So again, this is not really going to help a lot of the wholesalers or a lot of the liquidators that are out there, or the retail arbitrageurs. But this
private label is the focus of this podcast. So so our audience that's what they're into. Yeah.
Yep. And so, they realize that there's an issue there, and they're really building out this new capability. And again, it's an old capability, but they're starting to add more features toward it. And one of the big hooks that they have in the leads is MCF inventory counts toward your restock limits. And so they're like, well, if you want to increase your velocities, they're start giving us some MCF, and we'll give you some more restock limits, and you can actually negotiate with them to get that manually increase now.
Okay, so let's walk through the mechanics. Any costs here? What's involved? How you enroll? How do you set up? Is it for everyone? How does it happen? What's the mechanics behind it?
Yeah, so how I see it happening right now is they're reaching out directly to some of the sellers that they identified on their own. but a lot of times is they're reaching out to agencies and to service providers that are out there to, you know, tell the, like, for example, like the technology companies that are behind a lot of inventory management programs.
So they're going for the volume first. They're going one cluster, one customer, big volume. Yeah,
exactly. And they're trying to find like a path of least resistance, you know, finding the agency owner, giving them a dedicated account representative and saying, hey, tell your clients about the fact that, you know, if you go into MCF, you guys can use this buying power amongst each other, and you can start to negotiate with us on the rates and getting your clients some inventory.
Cool. So it's already in play. So it's happening on the bigger side for the agency. What about for people that are tuned in, the individual sellers? What's the route in for these guys to get involved in this program?
Yeah, I would say reach out to your friends that are in these agencies, because most of them have probably been talked to already. If you have an Amazon rep right now, like a good Amazon rep,
most don't. So can we send people your way, Tal? You probably explode your inbox, but there's got a lot of people want to get this resolved. So can we send people to you? You
can send people to me. You can reach out to a lot of the service providers that you use for like your shipping and stuff. They've been reached out to, and so they should. If you have a relationship with someone already, I suggest asking them. If they don't know about it, I'm more than happy to direct or even get them involved as well.
Yeah, cool. So what else have we got to cover here? You've had that meeting with them. We now know that the way to reach out is to go to agencies and stuff first and see, but is there definitely going to be an opening, like just out of interest? For instance, we send people to you, people listen to the podcast, go, okay, go and contact Tal. Can you make it happen, Tal, or is it you can just give them an advice?
I mean, it's going to be based on volume. So if you're sitting there and your Shopify is pushing like, you know, between 1,000 and 5,000 units per month, which is not a very high threshold, you're not happy with your 3PL, or you want to try something else new, and you want to give some volume to it, it's pretty easy to make it happen. If it's the case of like, you know, I only have a couple of units that I'm pushing through and I'm at my FBA inventory threshold and I only really want to use this to kind of like put one over on Amazon, I do not suggest going through the MCF route, because first of all, you're going to burn a relationship with like whatever agency owner or Amazon FBA guy or MCF guy. So don't try to put one over on Amazon. But if you're really looking to diversify your 3PL sort of infrastructure, and I'm counting Amazon as a 3PL in this case, then it's the way to go. Cool.
What else should people know about this as well? Is there anything else you want to add? Like, let's talk about some of the mechanics, like the restock. Let's walk me through from your perspective of the restock limit slowly going up, using merchant. And then where do you see this? Like, goes to Q3 where it happens. So give us a start point and where an end point may look like, if we can paint a picture.
Yeah. So I think the first thing is, like, if you're already kind of at that threshold, is getting the one-time bump.
Yeah.
And that one-time bump we've seen, especially in, I think Chelsea was mentioning it in a call a few weeks ago, that she had a client just randomly get like a double bump because they reached out directly to that client and said, hey, you know, we're going to restock your limits because we noticed that you're using MCF. Yeah. So that's like the first bump. The second part is like the continuous threshold of that velocity, keeping the inventory limits up. The really cool thing about working directly with the MCF team is you have a dedicated account rep that you can keep coming back to and saying, hey, like, how are we supposed to sell our stuff on our own website if you don't give us room? And so if they see that, they will give you those bumps as well. And then the different types of, I guess, mechanics would be like, how do you integrate with it? So MCF has an API. If you have your own developers, you can build out your own. No one really does those. So that's when you have to kind of like look through the different partners that Amazon currently is working with, like Seller Cloud, Channel Advisor, those, you know, sort of inventory managers and shipping route rerouters to connect to the MCF stock and put those rules forward to make sure, you know, if you're not sending all of your inventory there, or if you want to participate in like the blank box or no Amazon truck service, like you have to make those calls to Amazon in the API to make sure that it's being routed the correct way.
Cool. Sounds good. Is there anything else you want to cover at all?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely check out the rate cards on MCF as well. They are not the same as FBA. I can put them in the chat if you'd like, or...
Yeah, we can put them in the comments underneath here or in the chat. That's absolutely fine, yeah. If you do it in the public chat, just post a comment under all, and then
I think that's private.
I think you just popped it in the private. Yeah.
I don't
so
think
put
I
it in
can
there.
send.
All right, I'll grab that then. If in case that's just, I'm not sure, it might be just because on my end I'm the admin, if you like. Let me throw that into the comments now.
Yeah, what's interesting about the rate card is this is the public rate card, but with volumes, I think that there's going to be the opportunity to negotiate on these as well. So it's going to be a little bit different than what people are used to. It's going to be like working with a 3PL as this program gets built out more and more. The cool thing about MCF pricing is in FBA, it's like every unit has a price, right? Like every unit it's flat. With MCF, there are quantity discounts as you increase units. So if you're a fast-moving company that's selling 3-4 units in a given order, your AOV or your average unit volume is more than 1 or more than 2. You're really going to start to see some pretty major savings using the MCF program over your 3PL, who typically does not give you these breaks.
Cool. Just for the benefit of the playback on the podcast, it's sell.amazon.com/fulfillment -by -Amazon /FBA multi -channels.html. I'll also put it in the show notes as well, which will probably make it a lot easier. So what changes are you seeing at the moment? Because a lot of these situation we've got going back to Amazon, it's like warehouses are full, but they want this part of the market back. It's kind of counterintuitive. But we know that they've been building up. If you look at some of the shareholder notes and stuff, I can't remember the proper terminology. Going back to them, I'd done a show a while ago with Joe Reichfeld, and we were talking about it on there, is that the amount of building out that they're doing at the moment, they just can't stay on top of the production. And obviously with COVID slowed development down as well, especially when there was hard shutdowns and stuff, and construction workers couldn't get out effectively and operate.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with like thinking about how Amazon thinks about things, right? If they were to wait until they had capacity to do everything, that's 2 years from now, at that point, the market of 3PLs is going to be so much more, competitive.
Sophisticated as well. Yeah. There's been nothing to win. Yeah.
And so this is how Amazon does everything, right? Which is they shoot first, aim later. And so this looks very much like another shoot first, aim later. And I'm sure it's boiling the skin of a lot of your listeners right now who are like, you kept telling me, exactly like you said, you kept telling me the whole last year you have no room. And now you're telling me you're going to enhance room to non-Amazon sales. Like what gives? But that's how infrastructure works. Like you have to, especially when you have the resources that a company like Amazon has, like they can pour billions and billions in dollars into this and piss people off along the way. But at the end of the day, they're going to be the ones who are going to take it over if they're going this way. And so that's why you're kind of getting mixed messaging from them, from the MCF side to the FBA side.
Cool. Anything you want to cover before we go?
Yeah, just make sure, I think when you're looking through everything, to make sure that it integrates correctly, like you have an integration already, or you have a really good developer ready to do those APIs. You're going to get a lot of support from Amazon in terms of developing. Everything's going to be built on AWS. And so I think it's, for anyone who has a decent developer would be able to do this on their own. For anyone who's not, just look at their partner contacts, and I'm more than happy to send you all of that thing your way so you can see what they integrate with and what they don't already. But they already integrate with all the biggest things like BigCommerce and Shopify and WooCommerce and all of that.
Sounds good. Guys, I'm going to be back here tomorrow. We'll be doing a second part of Inside Seller Support. I've got some information with regards to the captive team, which is actually called IIDP. And I'll go into the whole breakdown of that because there's big confusion. Everyone talks about the captive team. It's not called the captive team. It's called IIDP, and I'll give you a full rendition of everything, the structure, the training, the whole shebang. That will be tomorrow. The frustration button, I've got a detailed breakdown of that so that we can utilize that for future reference. Again, I'll cover that tomorrow, and how to raise a keyword-rich ticket and what to do with inside of that, and how the AI technology works that picks up that ticket and then posts that to the correct department. Tal, what is the best way people can reach you before we go?
You can hit me up on Facebook or on my email, which is my first name, TALAL, at brandtogether.io.
Sounds good. I look forward to having you back in the future, guys. Back here, 4 p.m. BST tomorrow. Take care of yourself and your family. Much love, and I'll see you then.